Barney Stinson is one of the best characters in television. He's really funny and the performance is on point, but if you take a closer look at him as a person, you realize that he's pathetic. How I Met Your Mother was released in 2005, had 9 seasons and 208 episodes total. The show is about this guy named Ted Mosby telling his kids a story that eventually would lead to the main point that is presented in the title, how he met their mother. The show follows him and his friends Marshall, Lily, Robin and Barney as they hang out at McLaren's pub and get involved in all kinds of shenanigans. Barney Stinson is one of the main characters of the show since episode 1 and he has at least one scene in every single episode. Actually, out of the 5 main characters, Lily is the only main cast member who doesn't appear in every episode. She's not in episodes 21 and 22 of season 4 because she got very offended by a dirty joke Barney told in episode 20, or at least that's the reason the show gives us. But the real reason is because Alyson Hannigan was on maternity leave. That doesn't have anything to do with the video, it's a fun fact. It's not a reach to say that Barney is a fan favorite. He has the most iconic moments in the show, the character himself is very well written, and the actor brought him to life with perfection. Neil Patrick Harris is extremely charismatic, it's almost like the character was written for him. And that's actually a half true. Originally, he was written to be a loud, goofy character, played by someone with a John Belushi vibe, but Neil Patrick Harris's audition was so good that the creators of the show decided to rewrite the character to have the personality he suggested. So they made him into the confident, smooth talker bachelor he is today. But despite being an iconic and beloved character, the creator of the bro code has his flaws and we cannot turn a blind eye on them. We're actually gonna talk about them in detail, that's the whole point of this video. From the very first moment, Barney is portrayed as this cool guy who lives the single life at the fullest. He has a lot of money, sleeps with a lot of different women and have fun. Some men who watch the show even have him as an inspiration, like he's some sort of legend for getting laid a lot. And those people completely miss the point of the character. The way Barney behaves throughout the show is never romanticized. His womanizer lifestyle is always disapproved by his friends, everyone is always telling him how he's lame, disgusting and even kinda creepy. And as the show goes by, we get to know Barney a little better and start to understand why he's like this. When he was young, he was sensitive and light-hearted, but when a businessman stole his girlfriend away from him, he turned himself upside down. He changed his whole personality, got a haircut, shaved his face and started wearing his signature clothes, the suit. The suits are a symbol, they represent success, confidence, power, and the human brain works with association, every little detail of our lives matter. The way we dress is no different, it has a real effect on our brains. You know when you're feeling kinda lazy about something you have to do, like going to the gym or even to the grocery store, and just by changing clothes you get some sort of energy boost to do that. We feel more compelled to get moving because changing clothes sends a message to our brain. And by suiting up, Barney is telling himself he's a different person now. He feels like a man. He embodies this symbol of power and differentiates himself from the millions of t-shirts and jeans lemmings out there and show the world that he's a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, that's a quote. What I mean is, the suit is like a uniform, just like Peter Parker is himself until he puts on the Spider-Man suit. The difference here is that we almost never see Barney not suited up, because Barney doesn't like himself. So he needs to be in a suit constantly in order to be someone else constantly. He has this confident attitude, but deep down he is quite the opposite. He is actually very insecure. You see, he never met his father. He later finds out that he actually did, but I'll get there. Due to not having a dad and his girlfriend very coldly breaking his heart, his life was driven by fear of abandonment. That is why he has this MO of going after some girl he found attractive, sleeping with her once and sneaking out, never calling her again. This way he eliminates the chances of getting attached or catching feelings, believing that this will shield him from being abandoned again. He was abandoned by the people he loved the most. Even his mother, despite being a constant presence in his life, admitted to leave her child alone to go out and party. She once left Barney with a babysitter for 3 weeks to go on a band tour. He was 3 years old. And this status of a cool rich guy perfectly dressed who gets laid a lot is only a facade to hide his true feelings about himself and his relationship with others. All of that is a direct result of the abandonment he suffered his entire life by the people who loved him. So now he won't allow anyone to enter his life and love him, cause they're just gonna leave anyway. In season 6 he finally meets his father and it's a groundbreaking moment for him. For most of his childhood, he believed that the game show host Bob Barker was his dad. His mother lied to him to protect him from the reckless behavior of his real father, Jerome Whittaker. She didn't want Barney suffering from the absent father figure, but she judged a father like Jerome would be even worse, so she just came up with something else. Barney Barney actually met him a couple of times as a kid, but his mother always presented him as Uncle Jerry, who, ironically, was a person very much like Barney, living the single life, partying and all of that. Barney's mom put an end to their relationship when they went to a museum and Barney vandalized it. He stole a dinosaur bone and knocked down a whale. Uncle Jerry helped him get away with it, his mom found out and forced him to leave them alone, preventing Barney and Jerome from ever seeing each other again. But in his 30s, he discovers the truth about Uncle Jerry, so he starts to think of his dad as someone awesome just like him, a bachelor who likes to party and sleeps with a lot of women and whatnot. Little did he know that his father was a lame suburban family man. On top of that, Jerry was living his quiet life with a new family and a kid. So Barney feels even more rejected by seeing that his dad changed and became an actual father for his other child, but couldn't do that for him. That only adds up to his trauma and insecurity, making him even more closed off emotionally. So his behavior towards women and relationships in general is the way it is to hide his true self, an emotionally closed, insecure boy with daddy issues. He holds a grudge so big that he changed his entire personality to somehow get back at his ex-girlfriend and the man who stole her from him. That's the point of Barney's character. He's pathetic. He gets laid a lot, sure, but deep down he still feels empty and lonely. This lifestyle is not sustainable and it only makes the abandonment issues even worse. He just don't realize it. He does all of the crazy things we see in the show to get women to sleep with him because he believes that he could never get someone to like him by being himself. Cause again, he doesn't like himself, so why would anyone else? So if you really think about him as a person, you end up feeling sorry for him. And I think the greatest proof of that is every time other characters like Marshall and Ted tag along his weird ideas, it's when they emotionally hit rock bottom, cause they need to go down to his level of emotional intelligence to even consider being a part of anything he comes up with. At least he makes good money, but having money doesn't erase all of the bad stuff going on inside of him, even if it's a lot of money. I mean, we know he's loaded, but the show never talk about numbers in that matter, right? So it's impossible to know how much money he makes, right? In Season 9, Episode 15, when Barney is extremely drunk, he says he spends 1 crapload on suits every year and makes 16 craploads a year at his job. Remember these numbers. By Episode 19 of Season 9, he shows Ted a room full of suits with 7 racks of 15 suits each, and he says there is another one like that, so we can assume the other room also has 7 racks of 15 suits, bringing us to a total of 210 suits. Also in Season 6, Episode 12, Barney donates 4 racks of suits, which means he gave away 60 suits from his collection. In the 3rd season, Episode 12, we see Barney's green St. Patrick's Day suit, and in Season 4, Episode 17, we see that Barney sleeps in suit pajamas. Assuming he wouldn't want to wear any of those 2 special suits at his wedding, we can add 2 more to the collection. In the 12th episode of Season 5, he ruins 1 suit. In Season 3, Episode 20, he's hit by a bus and his suit has to be cut off his body at the hospital. And in Episode 9 of Season 4, a woman kicks him out on the street, naked. Assuming he never got back the suit from his last event, we can add 3 more to the count. Now we have a grand total of 275 suits on his personal collection. From Season 1, Episode 15, we know Barney has been wearing suits since 1998, so by the date of his wedding, he's about 15 years into that suit wearing life, which means he's bought an average of 18.3 suits a year. And remember, we know that this amount of suits cost 1 crapload. While in Season 1, Episode 16, Barney takes Marshall to the tailor who makes his suit at a very special price, which later we discover that is $4,000. So by that price, 18.3 suits a year costs $73,200. That's 1 crapload. And if he makes 16 craploads a year, we conclude that he makes roughly $1,171,200 a year. And that doesn't mean anything, I guess. Like I said, having a lot of money won't change his emotional situation, but this was fun. And all of that is not for nothing. Barney has an incredible journey of character development throughout the show. He's not at all a bad person. Talking about all of this makes it seem like I don't like Barney, but that's not true. He's my favorite character from the show and he's got a lot of qualities. First of all, what I think is his greatest virtue is that he might not be that good with romantic relationships, but he's an awesome friend. He's loyal, he truly cares for his friends, and he's selfless without being a pushover. When Lily left Marshall and moved to San Francisco, Barney went after her with a plane ticket in hands and got them back together. He also helped Marshall get a job more than once. When Robin was about to get deported back to Canada, Barney helped her get in the early morning news, securing her visa and allowing her to stay in New York. Barney fought for Ted's dream of designing a building on the Manhattan skyline and actually got it for him. Twice. When Robin was worried about her rehearsal dinner, who was the one who turned it into the winter wonderland of her dreams? Barney! Also, when Ted got in a car crash, he ran across Manhattan to be by his side at the hospital, only to get hit by a bus on the way. He did not deserve that. Even though he is the writer of the playbook, he was always Ted's wingman before getting his own game going. And ironically enough, even though he did the most absurd, elaborate tricks to get into women's pants, he did all of those things I just told you and more in secret. He genuinely cared for his friends, he never wanted to be praised, he's just a great friend. Also something that I think more people should take into consideration, he's an assumed womanizer. Obviously being a womanizer is not a quality on its own, I just spent the last few minutes talking about how pathetic he is for being like that, but he owns it. He never pretends not to be like that, his friends call him creepy and gross and he replies, yeah, that's me. But my hot take about the show is that Ted is way worse than him. Because while Barney is an assumed womanizer, Ted keeps this hopeless romantic smokescreen hiding the most toxic behaviors. I'm not even gonna mention him getting way too involved with women he wasn't actually that invested in, or saying I love you to women after knowing them for 15 minutes, cause that's just being impulsive. But in his tireless search for the one, Ted constantly disrespected boundaries, like with Robin, who clearly didn't want the same future as him, but he was so convinced that she was the one that he was blind to the fact that they were obviously not meant to be together. Or Stella, who rejected him several times, but he came up with a 2 minutes long date just to convince her they should go out. His standard response to rejection is a big romantic gesture, and I can't even begin to explain how big of a problem this is. He frequently, while in a relationship, kept feelings for someone else, like with almost every girl he dated after Robin. He made his relationships all about him and this ideal future he had planned in his head, overlooking the needs of his partners. He refuses to get to know the women he dates and idealizes them instead, breaking up with them the second they demonstrate not being perfectly aligned with this ideal future. Also, there is the on-the-nose stuff like cheating on Victoria. Point is, Barney is just pathetic, but Ted is a horrible person pretending to be a good guy. Enough about Ted, this video is not about him. Like I said before, Barney goes through an incredible journey of character development. The Barney we see in season 9 is a completely different person from the man in a suit from season 1. He's still the suit wearing cool rich guy. I think he did it for so long it's impossible to go back at this point, but now he's more sensitive and mature. He might be pathetic, but his arc is all about realizing just that and growing out of it. He learns, especially through his relationship with Quinn and later Robin, that he can be loved for who he is. He doesn't need to be someone else to get them to like him. He understands that it's okay to let people in his life, to let them love him and be vulnerable around him, and when he falls in love with Robin, he can finally let go of his obsessive necessity of hiding his insecurities. He's a reputable man now, a perfect mix of what he used to be and the cool guy in the suit facade. That is why he's my favorite character, not only because he's hilarious and iconic, but also because of his growth throughout the show being so endearing. And the ending of the show threw all of that out the window. He had the perfect ending with Robin, happily ever after, but for some reason I will never understand, the writers decided they should assassinate Barney's character arc. So he and Robin get divorced and Barney goes back to being the creepy womanizer he was in season 1, living with only one purpose, finding out who's the next woman he's going to trick into bed with him. After a decade of development, Barney learned nothing! So anyways, Barney was pathetic until he wasn't, until he was again. Ted's a monster, Lily's a bitch, and I hate them both. God bless Marshall, Barney is awesome, okay, bye!